morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name is Akarsh Venkatasubramanian. Over the next 10 minutes, I will aim to quickly give an introduction to the governance of telemedicine in AI-assisted diseases, and in particular on the global governance level. This presentation will not focus on a specific tool or technological tool or solution as many of the other speakers have. It will more focus on what we can do with the tool, what we can do with telemedicine, and how we must use telemedicine for global public good. Uh, this presentation is on the basis of my years of experience with several United Nations agencies in Geneva, Switzerland, where I am based, as well as some sea-level work in India, Colombia, and different parts of so to quickly jump in, I have no conflict of interest and a big set of acronyms here on this slide, which I'll get into as we go in the presentation. But first, we could perhaps start with some potential definition. We are in the midst of a technology revolution. We have been in the midst of a technology revolution for about 20, 30 years, but health is just catching up. Over the last 10 years, we have focused on different electronic health tools, mobile health tools or mHealth, digital health tools, now medical devices at different parts of the health system, at different parts of the clinical health system. And at the moment, with the variety of solutions, we have been using them for different parts, for different functions, surveillance and diagnosis, or even monitoring evaluation beyond the conventional prevention, treatment, and control. Uh, in this regard, we have come across a variety of different, very different technological solutions, but most of them may be categorized within either digital technology, database tools, or artificial intelligence. And here is where the interesting aspect of these come in. Now that we understand that we are in the midst of a technology revolution, that we have a set of technological tools that are being used to assess this, what do they need at the moment? How do we make them accessible to all? How do we make them affordable and available to all? And what is necessary for the global public good, for them to become global public goods, or for them to be used for global public. Firstly, we need a roadmap. In about 2 minutes, in the next slide, it speaks about the roadmap towards 2030. And towards 2030, we need to mobilize innovation equitably, inclusively, and responsibly, and come together as a global community. Uh, in part, to enable and strengthen and encourage people-centric policy. And skin diseases offer probably the best example in this regard, in terms of the differential effects of skin diseases on different people of different regions, of different ethnicities, of different races and genders. And so we as a global community working on health as a whole can learn from dermatology experts, from skin disease experts working on skin diseases, from clinicians, from researchers, um, and, uh, and strengthen people-centric policies and recommend governments to enable and encourage people-centric policies. Thirdly, while we have many technological solutions here, they come fraught with risk. Yes, they have massive opportunities. They offer unprecedented opportunities to reach different health outcomes, health goals, but they come with technological risk, ethical risk, legal and political risk, human rights risk, as digital contact tracing has shown, as different telemedicine platforms show. We need sufficient clarity on what these risks are and who is affected by these risks, and how differentially they are. Further, in order to address these risks, we need equitable, inclusive, and responsible governance at different levels. This could be at the global level or the national and regional level, and even at the community level. But governance helps us address those risks, and helps us prepare as a global community to address the challenges that come with those risks and enable these technologies pop up. In that sense, uh, we have uh, we have a need to understand what we must govern in the digital age. This is unquestionably the digital age. We are in the midst of, as presented before, as spoken before, the technology revolution. Now, what must be governed? What is the different? What are the different technological solutions and tools that are available that we must govern? For one, we have electronic medical records, and then electronic health and personal health records, which are absolutely different. In addition to communication systems, social insurance systems, diagnostics and disease surveillance systems, health management information systems, systems for logistics management, telemedicine, and most of them have a direct relevance on skin diseases, on dermatitis, on psoriasis, on eczema, on skin cancer, on different skin diseases, whose data falls into these platforms. The platforms that are used to store this data, to collect the data, to analyze this data. There are different technological solutions today, and all of them need governance, firstly at the global and then at the national level. Now that we understand what we must govern, the question then comes, if indeed we need to think about the global community, if we need to think about how we can use for global good, uh, why do we need global governance uh, for telemedicine in AI and especially for skin disease? Why not national governance? Why governance itself? Are questions that come up. Firstly, in 2015, government and heads of state came together in the United Nations General Assembly in September 2015 to adopt the Sustainable Development Goals. The 17 goals with 169 targets. Many of them focus on specific health outcomes, such as reducing prevalence of HIV/AIDS, reaching 95 percent, 95 goals of HIV/AIDS by 2025, and so most of them have a specific outcome and a specific time to reach them. Interestingly, there are not very direct goals for skin diseases, albeit indirect goals in terms of reducing cancer, the prevalence of cancer, reducing incidence of cancer, and so on. Regardless, in 2019, 4 years after the Sustainable Development Goals were adopted, governments again adopted the political declaration of universal health coverage. And uh, this involves their commitment to expand access to essential health services to all people by 2030. Now, we are not on track to reach that, either of these goals. We were not on track before COVID. We are still not on track, and we need something different in order to reach that. And in the midst of this technology revolution in the digital age, the telemedicine, AI, and other tools offer this convenient solution, shortcut, if to reach that. Now, while technology is not an end itself, it is only a means to an end, and we must look at it in that way to ensure that it is used to improve health outcomes. And in order to do this, we need governments to implement necessary policies, standards, frameworks, and benchmarks, regulations on relevant AI. Now, there are two aspects to this. One is that the role of global governance uh, systems and enablers and mechanisms to enable this, thereby uniting stakeholders working on changes, which have been happening for about 10 years or so. And the first aspect, of course, is on how we as a community of researchers, clinicians, experts, quote unquote, for on skin diseases can unite and present solutions to the wider global health community. And secondly, different countries are at different stages of their technology revolution. Different countries have different access to artificial intelligence and other frontier technologies, and each country needs relevant policies to reach their goals. In this case, on the first step, we have focused only on the skin disease aspect and how we unite stakeholders working on the different skin diseases as the fourth point shows. And secondly, how we can present lessons to the wider global health community. Now that we've tried to think about what needs governance and why we need governance, we must think about how we can govern these technologies. There are several options. In the digital age, in the early 1940s and the 50s, Government signed the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, which has helped the different country governments stay accountable in terms of human rights violations and cases. They later signed the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, Economic, Social, and Cultural Rights, and more recently the International Regulation. Now we need something like that for the digital age. We need something like that to encompass the broad variety of skin diseases that are seen in different geographies, different ethnicities, and we need sufficient guidelines and such regulations in such a global governance enabler or an instrument to take skin telemedicine in for skin disease into consideration. This could be either an addendum to the international regulations, ideally not, as the international regulations work on a pandemic setting, or this could be a separate regulation itself or a separate convention or guiding principles or framework. The bottom line being whether this is a formal or an informal instrument, it must absolutely must incorporate the lessons that we have taken from telemedicine in AI for kidney diseases and try to expand those lessons in other disease areas for the wider global health. Which brings us to the final aspect of how do we govern telemedicine in AI and especially for screen disease. What must this constitute? Now there are several risks. There are technological risks that come with them. There are ethical and legal and political risks that come in this regard. From the ethical standpoint alone, for instance, there are telemedicine systems, teledermatology systems that take pictures of skin of different people at different parts of the world. Now, where is all this data stored? We need sufficient guidelines on clarifying where this is stored and what the safety and security of these platforms are. Secondly, we need to understand how private this data is and who owns this data. If I take a picture of my skin in terms of the dermatology approach, do I still own the picture of my skin? Should I own it? Should the medical practitioner looking at it own it? Should it be the private sector who develops the tool, the storage tool? Should they own it? These are questions that need to be answered. And there are several questions up in the air. Now there are strategic challenges that we must answer, like what resources are, what operations required, how we can trust, how we can have public and institutional trust. And then there is a specific aspect of these different challenges. Uh, in such a complex ecosystem, uh, it is difficult to immediately make progress, which and my presentation, of course, is not focusing on a specific solution. Passion project does, the RAS network does, other speakers do. My project, my presentation more focuses on what we can do with it. So five key recommendations with those in that slide is that one, it is still unclear what global governance mechanisms can do for telemedicine AI for skin diseases, and we need further research on that. Further, it is unclear on what even is feasible, what is required, and what is feasible from a global governance standpoint. Potential is massive, the opportunity is massive, but what is feasible? Secondly, what is the role of the UN and the multilateral framework? How do you guide governments to enable AI for citizens in a country relevant way, in approaches relevant to their own population? And how do you ensure multi-sectoral collaboration? How do you bring together clinicians with governments, with private sector, with research institutes, with civil society, with international organizations, and with other commissions, consortia, co-creations that bring together different stakeholders themselves? How do we ensure multi-sectoral collaboration to reach our objectives? Um, Further, as mentioned just before, how do we promote? We must promote situational awareness. Different regions have different diseases are occur in different geographical regions of the world for different colors, different. How do you promote situational awareness? Finally, people-centric futures are absolutely important in marketing. We are in an era of technological advancement. Skin diseases offer in many ways the initial the stage towards reaching this personalized health future. How do you ensure we enable a people-centric future? How much we prioritize? Who must be involved in that? With that, I will stop here. Many thanks to all the organizers for giving me this opportunity. Here, I hope to learn from the other speakers, and I hope my presentation gives a way forward and what we can do with the different tools that are available. Thank you.